Okay, Emilio, tell us a little bit about your race now. How do you have an opponent? You do have an opponent, right?
Yes, I have an opponent. He's an announced opponent, but there could be more.
Could be more, right?
The filing deadline ends, I think, first week in October, the end of September, 1st of October.
And the election's coming up, though. It's in November,
November
right?
3rd is Election Day.
Yeah. And do you expect more people to get in? Is that a likelihood?
You know, I don't know. To me, it doesn't matter. I've been running for a long time. I'm already out walking in the neighborhoods, knocking on doors, meeting people. So I don't react. I do what I think is best and how to stay in touch with people and to win the election.
Now, probably the biggest news out of Venice this year has been all this sunshine stuff, the email stuff and the lawsuits, and they're going to have to pay out all kinds of money. What do you think about that whole mess of what's been going on with the emails in Venice?
Well, I have a personal opinion, and it coincides with what I'm encountering out there on the streets, knocking on doors, and that is people are tired of it. They're tired of hearing about it. They're tired of paying for it, and they're a little bit upset with the people that were involved in it. I suppose we'll find out about that because those people are up for re-election next year, and that'll be their chance to show their displeasure if they want to. But myself, I look at the expenses, the money that they paid out for legal fees, and I don't want to dwell on it. But the city just have a proposed budget. In that budget, they eliminated 14 positions, which are going to result possibly in one layoff. You know, the other one's through attrition. But the savings from that, as was announced at the workshop, was $540,000. Now, the millions of dollars that they've paid out in legal fees, and I could go into all the litigation they've had. I don't want to waste our time on that. It's millions of dollars. You know, they could have forestalled that. Now, we are in a bad economy. Maybe forestalling it wouldn't stop it, but it would have forestalled it for a little while longer. And certainly in this economy, we have to do those things in the hopes that it'll get better.
I don't want to spend too much time, but last question on the email controversy, because it has bogged down the city quite a bit. The last story that came out was that the mayor, Ed Martin, had sent out an email to you and one of the other candidates with some suggestions on issues you ought to run on. What did you think about that? Are you working with him? Is he working on your campaign? What did you think about receiving an email from him?
Well, you misstated it.
Okay.
The mayor sent an email to my opponent.
Oh, okay.
My opponent, it was a 2-page email giving him ideas and strategies.
Oh.
And it didn't mention my name.
You mean in sort of how to beat you?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I got it.
And in my opponent's response, which was also 2 pages long, he talked about his strategies and what meetings he was going to, etc. Things having to do with his campaign, and it inadvertently got put on the public server, so it became public information. The newspapers only printed one side of that because of space. It took up too much space. But I have copies of both sides, and the candidate's side was very interesting too. It talks about different neighborhoods, different organizations. It's interesting.
Okay, so the guy who's been getting in some of the hot water over the emails is sending emails to your opponent.
Yes.
On giving him suggestions.
Yes,
okay, and
supporting him.
Now the city of Venice taxpayers are probably going to have to pay for that too.
Well, it wasn't a violation.
It wasn't?
It was not deemed a violation.
That's good. The airport's been another controversial thing. There's the criticism that I hear from people in Venice is that a lot of the commissioners live near the airport, therefore they are selfishly fighting the expansion of the airport and the renovation of it, which would help the economy in Venice, because of their own selfish reasons, because they live near the airport and they don't want the airport modernized. Do you think there's any validity to that? What's your position on the airport?
My position, in regards to the validity of that issue, I can't speak to that. I can tell you that I live near the airport. We bought our condominium 30 years ago, and we knew the airport was there. For the last 20 years, we've lived there with the airport. It does not bother me in the slightest. I am in no way associated with that group of people. Now, what their motivation is, I don't know. But I can tell you this. I feel strongly that we have 5 legal opinions telling the council that you're not going to win this battle.
That's right, yeah.
They just went out for a sixth opinion. Now, common sense and good judgment I think would tell any average individual that they should change their tack on this issue. They should become good neighbors. What I've seen is the people at the airport have stretched out their hand to try to be good neighbors. I've seen it at meetings. It's been obvious. But the council has always rebuffed it. It's time now for the council to change their tack and become a good neighbor to the airport.
It's just exactly the same as the email issue, the Sunshine lawsuit. It's a case that they couldn't win. They try to make it go away by litigating, ends up costing the taxpayers a ton of money, and you lose in the end. So I understand what you're saying. Time for our second break. When we come back, our last segment with Emilo Carlesimo.